My best friend lived off campus. I lived on campus. Even though we took pretty much the same classes at school, we always made a big deal about the distance between us. Especially when it was stressful. We were pillars for each other. Stressed? Let's phone each other. Need some advice? Phone each other. Need a study session? She was always there. I would pick her up for these study sessions. During exam week, I picked her up for study sessions at least 3 times. She'd hop in the car and we'd just drive away, headed for the library. Somehow, and it's important to emphasize, I don't know how, we always ended up in the same empty parking lot, overlooking a large forest, even though it was considered make-out point. My friend and I had always went there platonically. A few seconds after we arrived, there would somehow be weed in our hands, the joint lit. Even though we rolled the windows open, I knew it would be stinking for days. Our books would sit on the back, completely untouched, as we talked about our intents to study. Oh well, we tried going to the library and studying. Might as well write the night off as a noble failure. At this point, it was best to put on some music and just watch the world below. Such a beautiful forest scene. No wonder people came here to make out. One night we had been studying until 1 in the morning. We were very productive as we listened to Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name and talked about life. Did I mention we had a philosophy exam the next day? Certainly this was philosophy, not, reading those dusty books in the back seat. Did you see something? My friend asked. Coming through the parking lot behind us were red and blue lights. The cops! Quickly we hid all the weed stuff just in case the cops searched the vehicle. My friend opened a window and fanned the interior of the car while I got some books from the back. Even though she held her books upside down, we might get away with it if the cops searched us. Maybe? A few minutes later, the police left the parking lot. They were just cruising, maybe looking for something specific. Both of us breathed a sigh of relief. We also started to fall asleep inside the car. Who knew cracking open books about Aristotle would put us to sleep so fast? Hey, I remembered Aristotle's name. That must be worth at least 90% of the test, right? Then I wanted to fall asleep. I woke up with a start as something crashed into our car. Were the police back, or did a deer hit our car? No. My eyes locked onto a woman who picked herself up off the ground and stared directly at me. How to describe how she looked? Okay. The way her eyes darted from side to side made me anxious within the first few moments. They looked crazy. I noticed her clothes were mostly torn, and I could have sworn there was a large gash on her face. After we stood at a standoff for several moments, she started back into the woods. "Wake up," I told my friend as I shook her awake. I told her what I saw, the woman, the gash, the torn clothes. "You're probably just high," my friend said as she curled back up in the passenger seat. She was probably right. I looked around and there was no one around us, though it was probably time to pack it in for the night. We had been studying for long enough. I put the key in the ignition and the headlights and taillights flashed. I might have been high, but I still remember my driver's ed training. Always check your rearview mirror. What the? The same woman from before was running at our car with a giant crowbar. Forget checking the rearview mirror, my seatbelt, and all that other checklist bullshit they teach you in driver's ed. I need to book it. My foot went down on the accelerator, and my friend crashed into the dashboard. She wasn't concussed, just a bit bruised, but none of that mattered because we needed to get out of there, right now. As I drove out of the parking lot, I noticed her, barefoot running as fast as she could behind us, crowbar in hand, screaming bloody murder. She chased us for a solid 3 minutes before we finally lost sight of her. I never slowed down though, because we needed to get out of there in case she had a car. Finally, we got back to the university. I took my roommate up to my room. She had a huge bruise on her head, but it didn't look like it was super serious. She'd be fine. We went up the stairs to my dorm room, and the two of us crashed in bed together until morning, until there was a knock on the door. I went up and answered it. It was the dean of our university. He needed to talk to us. Damn, us with our weed-scented clothes. We went down to the dean's office where there were 2 police officers sitting there. What did they want? Were we gonna get arrested for marijuana? Damn it. No. The police officers wanted to ask us if we saw anything yesterday. My friend obviously replied she didn't, but I told them about the woman I saw, and how she intended to attack us with a crowbar. The police officers told us that a woman had murdered her son and his girlfriend after finding out they were sneaking out together countless times. I really just wished I were high the night before, especially when I heard they hadn't found the woman. The only silver lining, if you could call it that, was that my friend and I were given a makeup date for our philosophy exam. And trust me, after that scare, we made damn sure we actually went to the library and studied.